Okay, hello. Here's another introduction to one of the texts that you might fancy using for your coursework, extended essay. This one is called The God of Small Things, written by Arundhati Roy. You'll notice it says winner of the Booker Prize, one of my suggestions for how you choose a literary novel. We used to teach this. And I think it's fair to say, first off, that we did have to have a slight trigger warning. We had a student in class who this book was a bit bad for, because it does have some, what should I say? There's a dodgy fella, and he sort of abuses some children only once and in passing, but you know, that happens. So I think I should warn you. And it's quite important to the plot, because that's why they then don't speak about something else that happened. So it's sort of this idea about keeping secrets. So it's set in an area of India called Kerala. And it's mostly about a young Indian woman, her family, her life story. And there's a lot of quite tragic events, but it's written in a very rich style, and the descriptions and the imagery is really beautiful. And if you're interested in other cultures, other countries, I think this is a really nice book for giving you an insight into another country. It could be considered under post-colonial fiction, because it's about a place that was once colonized by Britain, and the heavy burden of that and its echoes still are felt in this text. There's a girl who comes back visiting from England to India. She's what we would say, well, she's her father's Indian, her mother's English, but the status she has in India because she comes from England, it's really interesting. So there's lots of really good issues. I mean, I don't know if it's unfortunate, but it is one of those books in which women are quite badly oppressed, and sometimes I've heard people say, every book you get about India or Pakistan is about women being horribly treated, and it can add to the stereotype. Nevertheless, the woman who wrote it, it probably was her experience. So I think we've got to let her speak that. And in very patriarchal cultures, that can be what happens. So the opening is at Paradise Pickles and Preserves. May in Ayamanen is a hot, brooding month. The days are long and humid. The river shrinks, and black crows gorge on bright mangoes in still, dust-green trees. Red bananas ripen, jackfruits burst. Dissolute blue bottles hum vacuously in the fruity air. Then they stun themselves against clear window panes and die, fatly baffled in the sun. The nights are clear, but suffused with sloth and sullen expectation. But by early June, the southwest monsoon breaks, and there are 3 months of wind and water, with short spells of sharp, glittering sunshine that thrills children snatch to play with. The countryside turns an immodest green. Boundaries blur as tapioca fences take root and bloom. Brick walls turn moss green. Pepper vines snake up electric poles. Wild creepers burst through laterite banks and spill across the flooded roads. Boats ply in the bazaars, and small fish appear in the puddles that fill the PWD potholes on the highways. It was raining when Rahel came back to Ayamanen. Slanting silver ropes slammed into loose earth, ploughing it up like gunfire. The old house on the hill wore its steep gabled roof pulled over its ears like a low hat. The walls, streaked with moss, had grown soft and bulged a little with dampness that seeped up from the ground. The wild, overgrown garden was full of the whisper and scurry of small lives. Okay, so I hope that gives you a taste of it, how descriptive it is, and how you get the sense, the setting very, very clearly. And then that character, Rahel, who's coming back from a failed marriage, and her position in the family. So it is a sort of family saga, I guess, that's part of it, but it's very strong about Indian politics, the unfairness of gender roles and expectations. yeah, and the police being corrupt. There's a bit of that, and it's quite tragic. It is a tragic novel, but you know, literature very often has tragedy in it. That shouldn't put you off. So that's sort of modern post-colonial text that you might like. Is about women's issues as well. So it would go with some of the other texts we've mentioned. With Wide Sog SOC, it could go with very well.